we're to remember the purpose for our discipline. And that's the final verse 11. I'll start in verse 10, actually. For they disciplined us, earthly fathers, for a short time, as it seemed best to them, but he disciplines us for our good, that we might share his holiness. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness for those who have been trained by it. So, as the Lord turns up the heat on my life, on your life, there is a purpose for it. He's not a bully. He's not being mean for mean's sake. It is purposeful. It says there that it's to bring about the fruit of righteousness. And again, for gardeners, for people that see plants anywhere, everywhere, you know that there is that fruit that comes not immediately, but afterwards. And so there's a fruit of righteousness that's to come. It's the yielding peace and righteousness. Even in John chapter 15, Jesus gives this famous analogy about how he is the tender of the grape vineyard, and how sometimes he prunes things back, painfully cuts things off sometimes, so there can be greater fruit that comes afterwards, and so that we can share in his holiness. And I think that probably means two things. Sharing in his holiness, in the presence of holy God in heaven forever. Yes, but then also experiencing holiness. God pointing out sin in our lives that we've been ignoring or allowing just to dwell in the walled city of our heart for too long. As that is cast out, as that is repented of and forgiven of, then we get to, right here and right now, share in God's holiness. And I have never, ever regretted confessing sin to the Lord Jesus. I have never, ever regretted repenting over anything or everything. I only ever regret postponing, clinging on to it. And it can be just like grabbing hold of barbed wire, and you want to just grab it and never refuse. You don't want to humble yourself. I don't want to humble myself by releasing it. But then when the moment comes when it's like, okay, fine, I yield. My only regret is I didn't do it earlier. And so I want to encourage us to consider. I know I'm speaking a lot of vague terminology because I realize some of you are going through God's discipline right now, and some of you aren't. and the challenge is to ask, well, Lord, is it I? Lord, what's going on? Lord, is there a connection? God, is this 3-year drought in my life, is it connected to something? Or is it just due to weather patterns completely out of my control? So it says here, don't make light of it. Don't think lowly of it. Think of something, this is God evidencing his love and his care for me.